that we adopt the report. And once you adopt a report with the challenges in it that we are going to cause a debate, you as the Prime Minister came out and you gave evidence that our team, our group made Genome 7 in State House, as you stated. So, but even the name is okay, it's on record. So, once you gave that, I am against adopting a report that is challengeable on the floor. I can assure you that. So, that's why I asked for time frame. Because at the end of the day, this report will suffice in Parliament in case you don't meet the required time of the
Thank you very much, Right Honourable.
There's a procedure matter.
Right.
I heard the government chief whip.
Moving a
Right.
motion
Clear.
that the report
Moving
of
a
the
motion
committee be
that the
adopted.
report of the
You asked
committee be
whether-
adopted.
I heard the government
You
chief
asked
whip,
whether,
and you
I
asked
heard the
whether
government
the
chief whip,
motion was
and you asked
seconded.
whether
I-
the motion
and it
was
was seconded.
seconded.
I
And it was seconded.
didn't.
It was seconded. Doctor,
It was
doctor,
seconded.
Doctor,
No. Doctor,
I said
Doctor,
the statement of the Prime
Doctor,
Minister
I said
supersedes
the statement of the
the
Prime
statement
Minister supersedes
of
the
what was
statement
presented in the report. Just give us
of
the
what
timeline.
was presented in the report. Just give us the timeline.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members,
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members.
I want members to
I want
believe in
members
government.
to believe in government.
One of the reasons being
One of the reasons
the team
being
that brought a petition
that
here already met the president.
the
like I
team
said.
that brought a petition here
On
already met the
28th
president, like I
of
said.
October, the president
On
briefed cabinet
28th
and
of
guided,
October, the president
and the
briefed
issues
cabinet
are
and
being
guided,
acted on
and the
by the
issues
ministry.
are being acted
I am
on
now
by the ministry.
giving a time frame.
I am now giving a time
Honourable
frame.
Speaker, I beg that
Right Honourable Speaker,
we
I
government
beg
be
that
given 2 months to act on this.
we government be
Thank you.
given 2 months
And keep
to
us
act on
giving,
this.
keep giving
Thank
us
you.
updates.
And keep us giving, keep giving us
on how far
updates.
next.
Keep giving us updates on how
Item
far
8
next.
on the order paper. Statement
Item
by the
8 on the
Right
order
Honourable Prime
paper.
Minister on
Statement by the
government
Right
business for the
Honourable Prime
succeeding
Minister
week,
on
3rd to
government
5th
business for the
December
succeeding week,
2024.
3rd to 5th December
Honourable Prime
2024.
Minister,
Honorable Prime Minister,
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members,
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members,
I move under Rule 28 of our Rules of Procedure.
I move under Rule 28 of our Rules
that
of
requires
Procedure
me as lead of government business
that requires
to make a
me as lead of
statement
government
in
business
this House
to make a
regarding
statement
business of the
in
succeeding
this
week.
House regarding business of the succeeding week.
Below is the business
Below is the
of the
business
succeeding week from 3rd to
of the succeeding
5th
week from
December
3rd to 5th December
Number 1,
2024.
the Public
Number 1,
Service Pension
the
Fund
Public
Bill 20.
Service
23.
Pension Fund Bill
Number 2,
2023.
the UPDF
Number
Amendment
2,
Bill
The UPDF
2024.
Amendment Bill
Number
2024.
Statement by the Minister of
Number
Internal Affairs
3, statement by the Minister of Internal Affairs on expired Ugandan
four,
national IDs.
The Minister of Gender, Labour
Number
and Social
4,
Development will
The Minister of
present a
Gender, Labour and
comprehensive
Social
report
Development
regarding
will
the
present
key
a
issues
comprehensive
on
report
GROW project
regarding
in the
key
country.
issues on GROW
Then
project
number 5,
in the country.
the Minister of
And then
Energy
number
and
5,
Mineral Development will
The
present
Minister
a
of
statement
Energy and Mineral Development
updating
will
this
present a
House
statement
on the prepared
this House
upgrade.
on the prepaid
six,
Yakamita upgrade.
A statement by the Minister
Number 6,
of Education
A
and
statement
Sports
by the Minister
on
of
the new
Education
A-level
and Sports
curriculum.
on the new
Number
A-level
seven, A
curriculum.
statement
Number
will be
7
presented by the Minister for
statement
Kampala
will be presented by the
Authority
Minister for
on the
Kampala,
drainage status
Capital City Authority,
of
on the drainage status
Jogula Channel,
of
which feeds
Jogula
into Nakivubo
Channel,
Channel,
which feeds
caused
into Nakivubo
massive
Channel,
flooding
which
of
caused
St.
massive
Barkudebe
flooding
Market, Owino.
of
Honourable
St.
Speaker and
Barkudebe
colleagues, I
Market,
beg to move.
Owino. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to
Prime
move.
Minister. Thank you, Prime
Item
Minister.
9 on the order paper.
Item 9 on the order paper. Prime Minister's time.
Right Honorable Speaker, as usual,
Right Honorable
I
Speaker,
got
as
a-
usual,
a question from
I got
Honorable
a
Helen Kaunde,
question
District
from
Woman Representative
Honorable Helen
Kiryandongo
Kaunde,
District.
District Woman
On
Representative
e-waste
Kiryandongo
management.
District. On e-waste
According
management,
to her, which is a crucial
according to her, which is
of
a
development
crucial
and environmental
component of development
protection. It
and
involves
environmental
the safe
protection.
disposal and reuse of
It
electronic
involves the safe
products
disposal
such as
and
computers,
reuse of electronic
cell phones,
products such
printers,
as computers
and other digital
cell
devices
phones,
that are
printers,
no longer
and
in use.
other digital devices
prayer
that are no
is
longer in use.
What
And her
our
prayer
government's
is
e-waste disposal
what
and
our
management
government's
interventions
e-waste
in
disposal
Uganda.
and management
Right Honorable
interventions
Speaker
in
and colleagues,
Uganda.
My response
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues,
is
my
that,
response
the Minister of ICT and
is
National
that
Guidance,
the Minister of ICT and
coordinates-
National Guidance,
Right Honorable Speaker,
coordinates-
I beg for your protection.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg for your protection.
The Minister of ICT and National Guidance coordinates
The Minister of
implementation
ICT and National
of the
Guidance
e-waste management
coordinates the
policy
implementation
supported
of
by
the
the
e-waste
e-waste
management policy
steering
supported
committee,
by the
which includes
e-waste
NEMA,
steering committee,
UCC,
which includes
and
NEMA,
KCCA.
UCC,
These
and
institutions collaborate
KCCA.
to ensure sustainable
These institutions
management
collaborate
of e-waste.
to ensure sustainable
The e-waste
management
policy
of e-waste.
2012
The
provides
e-waste
an
management
overreaching
policy of 2012
framework for
provides
e-waste
an
management.
overreaching framework
Honorable
for
Speaker,
e-waste
This
management.
is augmented by
Honorable
the strategy
Speaker,
of
this is
electronic waste
augmented
management
by the
of
strategy
2013
of
and the
electronic waste
guidelines
management
for e-waste
2013
management
and the
in Uganda of
guidelines for e-waste
2016.
management in
The
Uganda of
revised National Environment
2016.
Act of 2019
The revised
established
National
a
Environment
legal
Act of
framework
2019
for waste management
established a
and
legal
provides
framework
for
for
aspects
waste
of
management
e-waste
and
management
provides
schemes,
for aspects of
including
e-waste
extended
management
producer
schemes, including
and
extended
equipment
producer
return to
responsibility
that is
and
take back.
equipment return
schemes.
to vendor, that is take back
The National
schemes.
Environment Waste Management
The National
Regulation
Environment
2020 further
Waste
includes
Management
specific
Regulation
provisions
2020
on the
further
management
includes
of
specific
e-waste,
provisions
separate from
on the management of
hazardous waste.
e-waste separate from
Honorable
hazardous
members,
waste.
Government through
Honorable
National
members,
Environment Authority and
Government
National
through
Enterprise
National
Corporation,
Environment
NEC,
Authority and
in
National
collaboration
Enterprise
with other
Corporation,
stakeholders,
NEC,
launched
in
the
collaboration
e-waste
with
management
other stakeholders,
collection center
launched the e-waste
located
management
at Plot 66,
collection center
Sixth
located
Street
at plot
Industrial Area in
66,
Kampala. in
6th
June
Street
2021.
Industrial Area in Kampala
The center
in June
carries
2021.
out rudimentary
The
management
center
of e-waste,
carries
including
out
collection,
rudimentary management
sorting
of
and
e-waste, including
dismantling.
collection,
Additionally,
sorting, and
private
dismantling.
e-waste management
Additionally,
handlers such as
private
Binit,
e-waste management handlers such
Nabugabo
as
Updeal
Binit,
Joint Venture,
Nabugabo Updeal
Meridium
Joint
Waste
Venture,
Uganda Limited,
Meridium Waste
have been licensed by
Uganda
NEMA
Limited,
to handle various
have been
aspects of
licensed
e-waste
by
management,
NEMA
including
to handle various
collecting,
aspects of
sorting,
e-waste management,
dismantling,
including
and disposal.
collecting, sorting,
Cognizant
dismantling,
that
and disposal.
the infrastructure for
Cognizant
e-waste
that
management in the country
the infrastructure for
is still
e-waste
rudimentary
management in the
and
country
insufficient.
is
The
still
Minister of
rudimentary
ICT and
and
National
insufficient. The
with
Minister of
funding from
ICT
World
and
Bank
National
is
Guidance,
undertaking a
with
project
funding from
to
World
establish
Bank,
a central
is
e-waste
undertaking a
management
project
center
to establish
and
a
regional
central
collection
e-waste
to
management center
facilitate
and
effective
regional
and
collection
sustainable
to
e-waste
facilitate
collection,
effective
including
and
plans,
sustainable e-waste
to
collection, including
subsequently
plans
progress
to
refurbishment
subsequently
and recycling
progress
of e-waste
to
in the
refurbishment
long term.
and recycling of e-waste in the
Right
long
Honourable
term.
Speaker and Honourable Members, Government
Right
is
Honourable
currently
Speaker and Honourable
undertaking
Members,
the following
Government is
measures
currently
due
undertaking
to the
the
increased
following
need to
measures
address the
due
e-waste management.
to the
One,
increased need to address the e-waste
Review
management. One,
of the e-waste policy
Review
of 2020,
of the e-waste policy of 2020
needs and
2012.
readiness assessment of e-waste
Needs and readiness
collection
assessment
centers.
of e-waste
Number 3,
collection
infrastructure and
centers.
process
Number
requirements
3,
evaluation
infrastructure and
e-waste
process
management
requirements
facilities.
evaluation
Number
for
4,
e-waste management
capacity building of
facilities.
handlers
Number
on
4,
e-waste management.
capacity building of
Number
handlers
5,
on e-waste
training
management.
of stakeholders
Number
on
5,
e-waste management.
Training
Number
of
6,
stakeholders
Right
on
Honourable
e-waste
Speaker,
management.
is
Number
assessment
6,
of the
Right Honourable
operations
Speaker,
and
is
capacity
assessment
of stakeholders
of the operations
and the
and
waste
capacity
e-
of stakeholders
the e-waste
and
collection
the
center
waste
to
e-
collect,
the
store,
e-waste collection
repurpose,
center
and
to
recycle
collect,
e-waste
store,
in Uganda.
repurpose, and recycle
7,
e-waste
engagements
in Uganda.
with international
Number 7,
computer
engagements with
refurbishing
international
e-waste management
computer
firms
refurbishing
establish a plan
e-waste management
in this country.
firms.
A firm soldier who joined the protracted people's struggle in 1982.
Coordination and
Under
regional
East
e-waste
African
management
Communication
initiative under East African Organization.
development of a central
Number
and
9,
regional
development
e-waste
of
collection
a
and
central
management facilities.
and regional
We
e-waste
support
collection and management facilities
Partners such
We
as
support
the World Bank.
of partners
Honourable
such
Speaker
as
and
the
honourable
World
members,
Bank.
E-waste management
Honourable
is
Speaker and honourable
emerging
members,
as a challenge
e-waste management
due to
is
increased
emerging
use
as a
of
challenge
electronics
due to increased
and
use
technology
of
that
electronics
is ever
and technology
evolving.
that
New
is
devices
ever
are becoming
evolving.
more
New devices
sophisticated
are becoming more
and are
sophisticated
manufactured from varying proportions
and are manufactured
materials
from
such as
varying
metals,
proportions
glass,
of
plastic,
materials such as
and therefore
metals,
disposal
glass,
after-
plastics,
after
and therefore
requires
disposal
robust approach.
after
Government is
requires
therefore ready
robust approach.
to devise
Government
and
is therefore
implement
ready
sustainable strategies
to devise
to
and
ensure
implement
sufficient
sustainable
funding for e-waste
strategies
management,
to ensure
including
sufficient funding for
utilization
e-waste
of
management,
extended producer
including
responsibility
utilization
schemes
of extended
and the
producer
setting up of an
responsibility schemes
e-waste management
and
fund.
the setting up of an
The
e-waste
second
management
question came
fund.
from Honorable Alina
The second
Itwerauben,
question came from
Member of
Honorable
Parliament,
Alina Itwerauben,
Isingiro West.
Member of Parliament, Isingiro West.
In his question, he gave a narrative
In his question,
that
he
in the
gave a
fulfillment
narrative
of one of the presidential pledges,
that in
for
the
the people of
fulfillment of
Isingiro,
one of the presidential
the government
pledges
of Uganda
for the people of
secured financial
Isingiro,
support from World
the
Bank
government of Uganda
to a
secured
tune
financial support
of
from World Bank
US
to
dollar
a tune of
169 million
US
to
dollar
support the irrigation
169
for climate
million
resilience
to support the
project
irrigation for
for
climate
Kabuyanda
resilience
irrigation scheme.
project for
And that this
Kabuyanda irrigation scheme.
project has
And that this irrigation
a command
project
area
has
of 330
a command
hectares,
area of
targeting
330 hectares,
households
targeting
in the areas of
7,000
Kabuyanda sub-county
households
and
in
Kabuyanda
the areas
Town
of
Council
Kabuyanda sub-county
in Isingiro West
and Kabuyanda
constituency,
Town Council
plus
in
Chikagate
Isingiro
sub-county
West
in Isingiro
constituency,
South
plus Chikagate sub-county in Isingiro South
MS
constituency.
Inyas Construction Limited
MS
from Eswatini
Inyas Construction
of
Limited
South Africa
from
was
Eswatini
awarded a 3 years
of
contract
South Africa
with
was
effect
awarded
from
a
May
3 years
2023
contract
for the
with
construction
effect from
of
May
Kabuyanda
2023
As Dam
for the
project.
construction of Kabuyanda
project
As
was
Dam
launched
project.
by both
The
Honorable
project
Isa Sekindi,
was launched
State Minister,
by both Honorable
Water
Isa Sekindi,
and
State Minister
Honorable Bright
of
Rwamirama,
Water, and
Minister of
Honorable
State
Bright
Animal
Wamirama,
Husbandry, in
the
August
Minister of
2023.
State Animal Husbandry,
Since
in August
then,
2023.
according to the honorable member, the
Since
operations of
then,
this project
according to the
have
Honorable
been
Member, the
so
operations
opaque
of this project
to the
have
extent
been
that both
so
the local
opaque
leadership, even
to the extent that
the
both
area
the
members of
local
parliament
leadership,
were left
even
in the darkness
the area
as
members
far
of parliament,
as
were left
operations are
in the
concerned.
darkness as far
That the
as
honorable
operations
minister
are concerned.
for water has
That the
on
honorable
2
minister
occasions quietly
For water has on
visited
2
the project
occasions
site without the
quietly
knowledge
visited the
local
project
leadership.
site without the knowledge
and
of the
that
local leadership.
the area members are not
And that
even having a courtesy
the area members
of
are
briefing
not
them
even
on
having
the
a
purpose
courtesy of
and the
briefing them
findings
on the
of
purpose and the findings of harvest.
To their surprise, on 2nd September
To
2024,
their surprise, on 2nd
that the
September
contractor
2024,
Enyas
that the
Construction
contractor
Limited
MS
prematurely terminated their
Construction
contract
Limited
with the Ministry of
prematurely
Water
terminated
and
their
Environment,
contract with the
and
Ministry of
reason
Water
being
and
delayed
Environment,
payment of Uganda
and the
shillings
reason being delayed
2.343
payment of
billion.
Uganda shillings 2.343 billion.
However, some reliable sources indicate, according to him,
However,
that
some reliable sources indicate,
performance
according to him,
of
that
the project
the
was at
performance
20.93%.
of the project was
out
at
of the target,
20.93%
and that this has
out
left
of the
the whole
target,
project in a mess
and that this has
and
left
confusion,
the whole project
and that
in
the
a
project
mess
site
and
that
confusion,
has deep
and that the project site
borrow pits,
that has
deep
deep
trenches and all types
borrow
of
pits,
excavations,
deep trenches,
which
and all
are a
types of
danger to animals
excavations
and people, especially
which are a
during
danger to
these
animals
rains.
and people,
And
especially
below are
during
his prayers
these rains.
that the
And
people of
below are
Isingiro
his prayers
would like to be
that the people of
updated
Isingiro
on the next
would
course
like
of
to be
action
updated
as far as
on the next course of
construction of Kabuye and
action
irrigation
as
scheme
far
is
as
concerned.
construction of Kabuye and irrigation
His other
scheme
prayer
is
is that
concerned.
the contractor
His
MS
other
and
prayer
Yash
is that the
Construction
contractor MS
Limited
Enyash
should with
Construction
immediate effect
Limited
clear all the
should
outstanding
with
payments
immediate effect
of both workers
clear all the
that
outstanding
have,
payments
been
of both
laid off
workers that
and
have
all service
been
providers.
laid off and all
The
service
third prayer
providers.
is that dam site.
The third
dam
prayer
site should
is
be
that dam
secured
site,
and
the dam
protected
site
to avoid
should be
accidents
secured
and disasters,
protected to
especially
avoid
during these
accident
rains.
and disasters,
His
especially
prayer number
during
4
these
is that an
rains.
investigation should be carried
His
out
prayer number 4
for the
is that an
operation of
investigation
all
should be
these
carried out
irrigation
on the
for
operations
climate
of all
resilience
these
projects.
irrigation for
Right
climate
Honourable
resilience
Speaker, my
projects.
response is that
Right
the
Honourable
Ministry
Speaker,
of
my
Water and
response
Environment
is that the Ministry of Water and
contract
Environment
for the construction of Kabuye and Earth
executed
Dam
a contract for the
Isingiro
construction of
district
Kabuye and Earth
Inyas
Dam in Isingiro
Construction
district
Limited
with Inyas
at a contract price
Construction
of
Limited at a contract
84.574
price of
952
84.574 billion.
The contract was signed on 23rd November 2022.
The contract was signed on
commenced
23rd
11th
November
May
2022 and
Physical
commenced on
progress
11th May
stood as
2023.
stood at
Physical progress stood
21%
at
September
21% as of September
Right Honourable Speaker and
2024.
honourable members, the
Right Honourable
Ministry
Speaker and
received the
honourable,
High Court
and honourable members,
on
the
30th
Ministry
August
received the High Court
2024.
judgment on
Among
30th
the
August
High Court
2024.
orders
Among
issued
the
in
High
the
Court
judgment
orders
are the following,
issued in the
which
judgment
directly
are the
affected
following,
ministry and performance
which directly
of the contract.
affected the ministry and performance of the
that
contract. One,
Inyas
that Enyash Construction Limited, Enyash Group Holdings Limited, and Abusak Bank Limited are restrained from discharging the bank guarantee in respect to the
Abusak
construction
Bank
works
Limited
of Kabuye and Earth Dam
are
in
restrained
Isingiro
from
district
discharging
pending
the bank
the hearing and
guarantee
final
in
determination
respect to
of the
construction
dispute
works
before
of
the
Kabuye and
International
Earth
Chamber
Dam
of Commerce, Paris,
hearing
in
and
France.
final determination.
Number two,
Before
that the government of
International
Uganda,
Chamber
represented by the Ministry of Water and Environment, is hereby ordered to withhold the payment of 21 billion Uganda shillings, 221 million 641 shillings to the first respondent, pending the hearing and final determination of the dispute between the parties before the International Chamber of Commerce. Right Honourable Speaker, arising out of the above High Court judgment, Enyash Construction Limited breached the contract by illegally subcontracting the works for the construction of Kabuye and Earth Dam in Isingiro district to Prince Consultancy Services Limited without consent from the ministry. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, following the High Court judgment of 30th August 2024, the Ministry of Water and Environment received notice from Nyash Construction Company or Limited dated 2nd September 2024 purporting to terminate the contract citing non-payment. Thereafter, the contractor commenced with demobilization activities from the site. Upon review of the contractor's purported determination notes, we observed the contractor's notice of termination was defective since the contractor's right to terminate had not accrued under the contract. The contractor's actions of intentionally refusing to remedy its breach by failing to resume work persistently exude its unwillingness to proceed with the work in accordance with the contract. Government, in accordance with the relevant clauses of the contract, therefore terminated the contract on 1st October this year. Right Honorable Speaker and members, government has sought the intervention of the Attorney General to counter the High Court orders restraining discharge of the bank guarantees in respect to the construction works for Kabuyanda Earth Dam. This will enable government to cash the advance payment guarantee and the performance guarantee. Government, with the support of the World Bank, that is the funder, has commenced the process of procuring another contractor to complete the works for the construction of Kabuyanda Earth Dam. A new contractor is expected on site by February next year. That is 2025. The third question, Right Honorable Speaker, came from Dr. Asimwe Florence, District Woman Representative of Masindi District. She says that every season we present a legislative agenda indicating the bills the executive will present to Parliament, and that we have passed many bills that have become acts. And her prayer is that when is Parliament receiving regulations accompanying these acts for proper operationalization? My response, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, that regulations are a form of statutory instruments made under the authority of an act of Parliament, all under the Constitution. Other forms of statutory instruments include rules, orders, ordinances, and bylaws. In the process of making the principal regulation all an act of Parliament, Parliament may confer or delegate its legislative power to another person who may be the President, a minister, or any other authority like a board or council. This delegation is explicitly conferred by the Act of Parliament, and there should be a specific provision in the Act that provides for the making of regulations that states the minister may, by statutory instrument, make regulations for the better carrying out of or giving effect to the provisions of this act. The power given to the minister by an act of Parliament to make regulation is discretionary. Hence the use of the word may. Where the minister is constrained to implement the act as a result of the nature of the act, the minister may go ahead and make regulations to implement the act. However, there are other instances where the act is self-implementing and may not require regulations. In this case, the minister may not necessarily make regulations. Section 14 of the Interpretation Act, Cap 2, gives Parliament powers to confer its law-making power on other person or body, thus enabling that person or body to make laws. This process is the delegation of Parliament's legislative power, and resulting laws are known as regulatory instruments, which include regulations, rules, orders, ordinances, and bylaws. As a general rule, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, such delegation needs to be expressed by Parliament, by an act of Parliament, as required under the Constitution in Article 79(2). For regulations to be brought to Parliament, the Act of Parliament must specifically provide either that the regulation be laid before Parliament, 2, a resolution of Parliament is required, or 3, the regulation be made with approval of Parliament. That Honorable Speaker and colleagues, there is consequently no legal obligation for all regulations to be brought to Parliament except where the Act of Parliament provides for it. Question number 4 is from Honorable Keyo Peter, Member of Parliament for Bukoli Island, Namaingo District. His prayer is, what plans does government have for constructing a secondary school per sub-county, especially in the hard-to-reach areas like the islands of Namaingo? My response, Right Honorable Speaker, is that government of Uganda, as you all know, has a policy to ensure that each sub-county has at least one secondary school. This is part of the broader goal to improve access to education, especially in remote and hard-to-reach areas, including island districts like Namaingo. The focus is on constructing schools in underserved regions to enhance education equity across the country. Namaingo has 11 sub-counties, out of which 5 sub-counties have got public secondary schools. It has 3 islands, out of which 1 Siguru has a public secondary school, leaving out Bukana and Rorwe islands that will be planned for in the medium term. In addition, government has already completed and operationalized Mwema Seed Secondary School in Mutumba sub-county under the first phase of Intergovernmental Physical Transfers U-Gift program. The construction of Hemba Seed School under the second phase is also underway under the same program. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Namaingo Town Council has also been earmarked for a seed secondary school under the Uganda Secondary Education Expansion Project. Worship. His prayer number 2 is that I want to answer his prayer number 2 by saying that government has plans to construct boarding schools for both primary and secondary schools in the Karamoja sub-region. According to him, why can't this same program be extended to the islands that are equally disadvantaged? My response, Right Honorable Speaker, is that government's initiative to build boarding schools in Karamoja is based on the unique challenges in that region, such as insecurity, nomadic lifestyles, and the need to stabilize the education system for the vulnerable communities of Karamoja. And Karamoja has historically faced challenges linked to pastoralism and cattle raiding, that is known as cattle rustling, making it difficult for children to access education without boarding facilities. It is true that government under the Karamoja Primary Education Program upgraded 21 primary schools in all the 7 districts in the Karamoja sub-region. The project was funded by the Irish Aid, and it was concluded in 2017. The construction of seed secondary school across the country supported by World Bank does not include boarding facilities, as the focus on the provision or providing day school under the Universal Secondary Education Program. However, government recognizes the need for boarding facilities in the island districts and hard-to-reach areas, and plans to address these issues by incorporating such provisions once resources are available. Prayer number 3, that what plans are in place to retain teachers in hard-to-reach areas in like islands. My response, Right Honorable Speaker, is that government has put in place the following measures to retain teachers in hard-to-reach areas. Hardship allowance. As you are aware, teachers in remote and difficult locations often receive additional compensation through hardship allowances to offset the challenges of working in such environments. The Ministry of Education and Sports has been liaising with the Ministry of Public Service to include island schools among the hard-to-reach spots so that they receive top-up allowances. Staff accommodation. All seed secondary schools being constructed have staff accommodation. Plans are also underway to improve housing for teachers in remote areas to encourage them to stay. For instance, the construction of teachers' houses near schools is a priority in many rural and island districts. Question number 5. Honorable Kintu Alex Brandon, Member of Parliament Kagoma, Jinja District. According to him, many agro-processing machines face power challenges, hence affecting agro-processing projects across the country, such as coffee factory in Myanzi, Kasanda District, which was established under SCDP program and is currently hindered by lack of a transformer. His prayer: can government prioritize the provision of adequate power supply to these vital projects? My response: the Agricultural Cluster Development Project, SCDP, has facilitated the establishment of numerous agro-processing machines across the country. However, many of these projects are located in areas without an existing electric supply line. To tackle this challenge, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is taking a twofold approach. One, framework contracts for power supply. The ministry is finalizing procurement framework contract for the bulk supply of power line construction materials, as well as labor and transport under the small and medium enterprise SME framework priority projects. Subject to availability of funds, this initiative will enable the ministry to quickly and efficiently install transformers whenever needed to support the agricultural production and value addition. Number 2, electrification of agricultural processing facilities. In the financial year 2023-2024, with the technical support from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, the Ministry of Agriculture electrified 21 agricultural processing facilities despite budget constraints. Additionally, 95 more agricultural processing centers have been identified and submitted to the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development for inclusion in the upcoming projects. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture to develop a targeted plan for the electrification of agricultural value addition and production centers across the country, including irrigation schemes specific to the Myanzi Coffee Factory in Kasanda. Government, through the Ministry of Energy, will provide a transformer. Number 6, Honorable Nakut Faith, Napaka District. That in 2016, when government rolled out the upgrade of health facilities and construction of health infrastructure in Uganda, Karamoja district local governments were poised to wait for the Italian loan and therefore were omitted from UGIFT loan. It is reported that to date, government has upgraded over 340 health facilities in the country, while Karamoja and especially Napaka district awaits for the Italian loan, which is closing 10 years in the offing. A number of people have passed on due to shortages and absence of health facilities. And her prayer Can the Right Honourable Prime Minister, when will Napak district health sector be served with health infrastructure? Right Honourable Speaker, below is my response. The 10 million euro Italian loan delayed due to negotiation bottlenecks between the two governments. However, the Italian government has dispatched the funds, and we have them in the Bank of Uganda on a special project account. The procurement process for the works has been finalized, and evaluation reports sent to the Italian government for a no objection as per the financing agreement. Right Honourable Speaker and members, once the government of Uganda receives the no objection, works will begin immediately. The Attorney General has already approved all the 9 contracts for the 9 districts for Karamoja. 9 contracts. Works will begin this financial year. The government is also exploring other funding modalities for Karamoja, and is also co-financing the Italian support with Uganda shillings 9 billion in addition to the 10 million euros from Italy. Question number 7 also came from Honorable Nakut, Napaka District. And that in July 2022, at the Golden Jubilee celebrations in Kangole Girls SS, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda promised that the Cabinet would consider prioritizing the construction of a girls' dormitory to support the girl child education in Karamoja. And her prayer is that in which financial year will the estimate for the girls' dormitory appear in the national budget. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, Kangole Girls SS has been prioritized and is on the list of traditional schools to benefit from the U-LEARN project. This project will rehabilitate and provide infrastructure for traditional secondary schools, among which is the Kangole Girls Senior Secondary School. The project is pending approval by the Global Partnership for Education, GPE. Number 8, Honorable Mapenduzi Ojara, Laibi Division, Gulu City. Government promised to provide, according to him, updates of the progress of Northern Uganda Social Action Fund, as NUSAF 4, but it has taken several months with no feedback. His prayer, can I update Ugandans on the progress of NUSAF 4? My response, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable members, that Cabinet in its meeting of 24th January 2024 authorized my office to design the Northern Uganda Social Action Project, that is NUSAF 4, with the support of World Bank to address the high poverty levels in the greater Northern Uganda. Noting the satisfactory performance of the previous NUSAF 3 project, where 3,031,690 poor and vulnerable persons from 338 households benefited from the project funds in 5,299 villages, 1,536 parishes in the 67 participating districts. The proposed NUSAF 4 will provide effective income support to build the resilience of poor and vulnerable households in Northern Uganda. The project design and consultations have been concluded by the project design team consisting of my office, the National Planning Authority, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Ministry of Health, Inspectorate of Government, and other relevant ministries, departments and agencies. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable members, the National Planning Authority has issued clearance for the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to make arrangements for negotiations with World Bank and proceed with financing. The Minister of Finance has notified the World Bank and negotiations on the project are still ongoing. The project shall also require approval of the World Bank and Parliament before commencement, which is anticipated in January 2025. Question number 9 is from Honorable Achon Julius Boa, MP, Atuke East, or Tuke East County. That his prayer is, can I inform the people of northern Uganda on the steps or plans, government plans to undertake the position of northern Uganda to tap into the global demands of shea nuts? My response, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the shea nuts is a tree widely grown or widely growing in eastern and northern Uganda. Currently, efforts have been mainly at community and local government on conservation of these naturally growing trees in the world, not to be taken up by the charcoal business. However, as government, we note that economic importance and nutritional value of these trees and will look into the measures to propagate them. Government is currently engaging with development partners to incorporate additional oilseed crop, including shea nut, cashew nut, macadamia, and has facado into the national oilseed project, supported by oilseed crops. Government is confident that integrating these priority crops will lead to focused efforts to enhance their contributions to the oilseed and vegetable oil value chain in both regional and international markets. Right Honorable Speaker and members, farmers also have the option of selecting shea nuts as an enterprise to undertake the parish development model. Question number 10, can I update this house? It came from Honorable Regan David Agago, and his prayer is that, can I update this house on the status of implementation of national oil seeds in northern Uganda, that there are no signs of any impact of this project. My response, Right Honorable Speaker, that the national oil seeds project
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, a procedure. Why don't you allow the Prime Minister to finish?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving a procedure matter, to allow me to raise the procedure matter. Excuse, we can raise procedure, there's nothing wrong with that. Madam Speaker, I raised under Rule 41 on 41.8a and for Prime Minister's time. Whereas I thank the Prime Minister for being patient with us that we commenced her time a bit late. But A says 40 minutes will be provided for responding to written questions and 20 minutes to responding to oral questions, so that we have also time to give out oral questions.
But
I was just wondering if...
we are the ones who spent her time, so let's allow her to finish. I will only give about 3 or 4 people for oral.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable
Yes.
Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want members to
Actually, you have taken 5
appreciate-
minutes now.
appreciate that these questions come from members. So I try to make sure that we answer these questions and give answers satisfactorily. Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker, my response is that the National Seeds Project, NOSIP, is a 7-year initiative that started in 2021 to 2028, jointly implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and that the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Local Government. Building on the successes of the Vegetable Oil Development Project, Phase 2, that is started in 2010-2020, NOSIP operates in 81 districts, clustered in 2 hubs, that's West Nile, and northern, eastern, and midwestern, and Karamoja. In northern Uganda, The project is active in 17 districts, including Lamo, Padel, Kitgum, Gulu, Amul, Ngoya, Omoro, Agago, Kwania, Otuke, Lira, Aleptong, Amulata, Apache, Oyam, Dokoro, and Kore. That Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the project aims to address the shortfall in domestic oilseed production and increase the local output of vegetable oil and related byproducts. Its primary development objective is to accelerate commercialization in key oilseed value chain, thereby improving livelihoods and resilience of smallholder involved in oilseed production and marketing. Actual implementation of the project activities commenced in the financial year 2023-2024. The following have so far been carried out. 1. The National Oilseed Project has provided inputs such as soybean foundation seed and fertilizers to 48 clusters in the region for multiplication to ensure availability of quality declared seed closer to the farmers. This in turn supports farmer groups in growing the seed as grain to increase production and productivity, improve nutrition, and enhance backward and forward linkages within the region. Number 2, extension service. The project has provided refresher training for 273 district extension staff to support farmers in the implementing seed value chain activities and to enhance production and productivity. Number 3, MAIF, through the project, procured and distributed 162 motorcycles per district to ease mobility, 2 motorcycles per district, to ease mobility, enhance service delivery, and boost the production and productivity of agricultural commodities. Number 4, clustering and formation of farmer groups to enhance oilseed production and productivity, contribute to crushing material for value addition, and support the animal feed industry within the country. These farmer groups facilitate aggregation and promote collective marketing across the regions. The project is currently working with 637 farmer groups, that is 380 in Acholi and 257 in Lango. Number 5, research and development. With the funding from this project, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries is supporting Nursery, Naro, and Makerere University in conducting adaptive research to develop improved varieties of soybean, groundnuts, sesame, and sunflower. This research aims to facilitate farmer multiplication and increase the availability of quality seed on the market. Number 6, initiated procurement for construction of community access roads in the 2 sub-regions. The procurement process for contractors for batch A, totaling to 1,034 kilometers across the entire project area, is ongoing. The Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I thank you for your patience. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, and thank you for your patience. As we leave the Prime Minister to rest a bit, can we hear from Honorable Chofa as we give you 5 minutes to rest?
Statement by Minister on the
Yes.
commemoration of World AIDS Day.
Thank you, Honorable Chofa.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. This is a statement on the commemoration of the World AIDS Day, which will be held on 1st December 2024, this Sunday. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, every year Uganda joins the rest of the world to commemorate World AIDS Day on 1st December. So the commemoration is meant to raise awareness about AIDS epidemic, show solidarity with those living with HIV, accelerate interventions in the fight against HIV and AIDS, and reflect on progress and challenges that inform strategies and efforts in the fight against the epidemic. Right Honorable Speaker, this event provides a powerful platform that is well aligned with the presidential fast track initiative for ending AIDS as a public health threat in Uganda by 2030 and mainstreaming HIV for epidemic control. The initiative aims to ensure that nobody is left behind. It promotes increased focus on proven effective interventions of the HIV response and addresses prevailing gaps in the coverage of key services in the country. Currently, Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda has an estimated 1.9 million people living with HIV, out of which 1.2 million are currently on treatment, that's according to Ministry of Health annual estimates. The national HIV prevalence in Uganda currently stands at 5.1% among adults aged 15 to 49 years. There are a lot of disparities, however, in the burden of HIV and demographic group and geographic area. For example, HIV prevalence is higher among women, standing at 6.5% compared to men at 3.6%. Despite of all that, Right Honorable Speaker, there remain challenges the country is facing towards ending AIDS in Uganda by 2030. The new HIV infections stand at about 38,000 annually, and about 19,000 deaths were recorded in 2023. Infections among young people 15 to 24 years accounted for nearly 40% of all the new HIV infections in the year 2023, with the new infections occurring 3 times more among young girls compared to boys in the same period. Men, take care. Eh? So, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the National World AIDS Day 2024 theme is accelerating interventions to end AIDS by 2030, which aligns with the global theme. Human rights are essential to ending AIDS as a public threat, health threat by 2030. This as well aligns with the new global AIDS strategy of ending AIDS by 2030 and the commitment to zero new HIV infections, zero AIDS-related deaths, and zero discrimination. Right Honorable Speaker, the objective is to inform and seek your support towards the commemoration of this day, which will be held on 1st December, like I said before. The commemoration will be held in Buyende District at Bukungu Town Council. As a country, we always commemorate this day to take stock of achievements in the fight against HIV and AIDS and rededicate our efforts to the fight against this epidemic. It is therefore critical to have an accelerated sensitization of the public about the prevailing risk of new HIV infections and what the community needs to do to mitigate the risks. Commemoration of World AIDS Day provides us a strategic opportunity for engaging the public. In this regard, the Office of the President will provide oversight to the new AIDS Commission to ensure that community sensitization is intensified as part of the commemoration activities. I therefore, as I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I seek your indulgence to note the following key aspects. One, to note that the World AIDS Day will take place in Buyende District, Bukungu Town Council at Bukungu Primary School. Two, the preparation, to inform you that the preparations of the commemoration of the World AIDS Day 2024 have already commenced. Three, to inform you that the World AIDS Day will be commemorated on 1st December 2024 under the theme Accelerating the Interventions for Ending AIDS by 2030. 4, to inform you that all of you are requested to support the preparation for the commemoration of World AIDS Day and relay HIV messages across the country as a national leaders to increase HIV awareness and advocacy. 5, you are to inform you that to wear the red ribbon as a symbol of standing in solidarity with the people living with HIV and awareness creation. 6, to also seek your participation in the commemoration of the World AIDS Day at Bukungu, Buyende District. I beg to move. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. That we are requested to support in the preparation. How do we support in the preparation?
Right, Honorable Speaker, the finances are budgeted for, so we might, but we need your mobilization and also your presence is very key because that is the time when we must make a statement to the whole world.
Thank you.
That as a country we are one in this battle.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. But as we celebrate the AIDS Day, the World AIDS Day, you should be aware that some people cannot get ARVs in hospitals. So that is one of the things that you should look at. People in the islands cannot be able to access to this medicine. There is a lot of stigma. People fear to speak about it. So create that environment where people get freedom to speak about it and know that it is something that can be handled. Can we go back? The Prime Minister has taken tea. Christine.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for the statement. We are ready to celebrate. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm representing the Shadow Minister for Gender. This is the right time to reflect on responsible living, especially in terms of discipline by women and men. It is high time we emphasize the causes for HIV. And when we emphasize the causes for HIV, that is when we shall be able to bring out responsible living. That one should come out clearly. Right Honorable Speaker, this issue of overemphasizing the treatment other than the prevention.
The cause.
Other than the cause. Prevention other than the cause.
Honorable Minister, as
this
you go and talk to the people. This is very important
message on this day.
Talk about prevention.
Yes. And this message should be carried by us to our teenagers. Today morning we are contemplating on the causes of gender-based violence. Right Honorable Speaker, discordant couples. It is very difficult for discordant couples to have harmony in their marriage. It is very difficult. Even when the couples are all affected or infected, it is very difficult for such a marriage to be in harmony, especially when you know it is him or it is her who brought it to you. So, Right Honorable Speaker, working to reduce on the scourge of HIV has also an implication on the welfare of our marriages in Uganda. I thank you, Minister, for the statement, and I pray that we all do certain initiatives within our respective constituencies to commemorate the day and also to bring our population with updated information on HIV/AIDS. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kabanda.
Thank you.
Kabanda, the man, not the woman.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to thank the Minister for his statement. However, Right Honorable Speaker, I'd like to seek clarification from the Minister, because when we were choosing the theme of the day, the theme reads as follows: the National World AIDS Day 2024 theme is accelerating interventions to end AIDS by 2030. Now, I am just seeking clarification from the Minister. There are people who can live with HIV even for 30 days, 30 years. And these are 6 years away from now. So when you say that your target is to end AIDS by 2030, are you looking forward to killing those who live with HIV? What are the information?
Thank you for giving way for information. They have given information. I just wanted to give information to my honorable colleague that I sit on the health committee, and indeed we visited a number of health centers of country and even around central here. Madam Speaker, the most amazing thing is that we have been told there's a decline in the number of patients who are actually going to get ARVs. And the main reason for this is that there's no longer confidentiality in the health centers where some of these patients go to collect their ARVs. And it is making most of them not go to health centers to actually get the necessary treatment. So maybe that is an issue can be put.
Doctor.
More information.
Doctor, then the chair of HIV/AIDS.
Thank you, Right Honorable. The trait of this house is that when eloquent people come to speak about issues, you afford them enough time. The question was by Honorable Kabanda was how you are going to achieve ending AIDS by 2030. So there's a very big distinction between HIV and AIDS. By HIV, we are talking about the virus that infects people and runs into the DNA. The acquired immune deficiency syndrome is what phenotypes or comes out when your immunity has gone down. So it is possible that we can achieve that if we all put our hands on the deck to fight the Armageddon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chair HIV.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank Doctor for that clarification. And to further answer Honorable Kabanda, it is very possible for us as a country to end AIDS by 2030. And that's why we are focusing on the Presidential Fast Track Initiative and also implementing the 95-95-95. What do we mean by that? We want to ensure that every Ugandan is tested. And if we can test 95% or 99% of all the Ugandan population, we will ascertain those who are positive and those who are negative. When we know those who are positive, then we enroll you on treatment. And that is the second in 95 or 1990. Can I finish? Please. Please. I know he's a doctor. You will seek your clarification later.
You're also a medic.
Yeah, thank you. So, when we enroll those who have been found positive on treatment, and then we go to the next 95 or 99, and that is suppressing. We make sure that those who are on treatment stay on treatment, and we suppress the viral load. And once we suppress, the chances of you infecting another person comes down, and it is very minimal. And that's why we are saying, all of us, you know, with the law that we passed, we can't force every Ugandan to go and test. But the reason why we are saying join hands together with us to mobilize people in our communities so that they get to know their status, get enrolled on treatment, and those who are negative, we advise them and encourage them to stay safe. Those who are positive, we continue appealing to them to send a message that let it end with me, so that you do not infect another person. Right,
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I want to seek your indulgence. Honorable members, HIV and AIDS is still wearing a female face. When you listen to the minister's statement, 5.6% are women, 6.5% are women, vis-a-vis the 3.8 men. Now, when you go to the new infections, the 58,000 new infections, 3 in each of that population are young girls between the age of 15 and 25. That is the worry, and that is the fear, and that is the alarm that all of us should make. If we do not allocate and find resources and put them in prevention, and we only focus on treatment, we are not going to achieve the goal of ending AIDS by 2030. Because the new infections are on the rise, and they are in the active age of the young girls. I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Let me have Mwenge, then I have
thank you.
Government Chief Whip.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm not a medic. Chief Whip. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg the attention of the Chief Whip and the Honorable Kabanda. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm not a medic, but I've been in the HIV sector for some time. I don't mind whether I've been a VHC or not, but as long as I can raise my issue. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the statement. Unfortunately, we are giving our input when the Minister of Health is not here. And my concerns, the two of them, directly will go to the Minister of Health. One, Right Honorable Speaker, as we commemorate the World AIDS Day, we want the country, specifically the Minister of Health or the Prime Minister, to give us a pronouncement on the current issue that we are hearing about of PrEP, where somebody can get an injection. I've been hearing about it for 2 months and you are not infected, or you get tablets and you don't get infected. Right Honorable Speaker, my fear is this one may miss.
It's called a PEP.
No, PEP is post. I told you I know some of these things. PEP is post. Let me raise my issue. PrEP is pre-exposure. That's the one I'm talking about. For you are talking about PEP, which is post-exposure. I told you I'm a VST who knows these things. Right Honorable Speaker, my fear now is when we talk about this thing of PrEP, without giving our people enough information, sooner or later, condom use will be abandoned, people will get reckless and start doing live sex, as I may say, and maybe later on, if it is not working well, we shall have new infections. So we want the Prime Minister or the Minister of Health to give us a clear statement about that, because they came even and launched it in my district and other districts in the country. How is it going to impact on the spread of HIV or control it? The chairperson here is telling me it does. Two, Right Honorable Speaker, I have been seeing statistics, and of course with the recent saga in the population census, some of the statistics you cannot believe in them. Statistics about HIV prevalence in different regions. I come from the Toro sub-region, specifically Fort Portal City, which is near my constituency. And it is the leading, and the minister is emphasizing that Fort Portal is the leading. Apart from statistics showing Fort Portal as the leading area in terms of HIV prevalence, I have not seen any deliberate, specific effort by government, Right Honorable Speaker, apart from giving us statistics and causing a fear, a specific deliberate effort by government to contain this prevalence rate of HIV in my region. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Government Chief Whip.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are discussing a very important subject matter that touches on the life of the people of Uganda. My first submission, which I want to bring to the attention of this Parliament, is that the prevalence rate of HIV/AIDS is on the increase. Fort Portal City leads with a prevalence rate of 14.7%. Mbarara City follows with a prevalence rate of 14%. Chotera is number 3 with 13.7. Then in that sequence, Masaka City, Lira City, Soroti City, Arua City, and others. The point I want to raise to the minister, I'm bound by collective responsibility, but let me raise this. We seem to be emphasizing more of cure than prevention. I recall when we were young kids in primary, there used to be the film of the late Philly Bongole Lutaya, Alone and Frightened. And I recall either in P3 or P4, when we watched it, seated on the ground, I can assure you the fear it caused up to now is the reason I am safe and sound up to this moment. But it also appears that our partners are not focusing on that. Our partners, our development partners, are seemingly focusing on treatment. So I think, Honorable Minister, I have raised this time and again. That time is up for us. You know, fear itself will make you move cautiously. Fear. That fear is no more. Our young people, especially like our young girls, they fear pregnancy more than getting infected with HIV/AIDS. So, Honorable Minister, we need to rethink our direction. In fact, the earlier we do it, the better. Because this prevalence rate is too much for us now. With Fort Portal leading, but for me, my question is, why have we abandoned going to these traditional schools, showing these young people the danger using the Philly Bongole Lutaya? We have only adopted this other song as the HIV/AIDS anthem. But that film, when he flew back, he went to Gayaza, he greeted the people of Uganda, he said, God willing, I will go, I will return. And he didn't return back alive. We have abandoned that. That is the reason why young people now, they do no longer fear. So for me, I want to move that we introduce that for young people to continue watching. Because now you hear people say, it's about stigmatization and what have you. You see, heads of those days would make you look so thin. But that causes fear. That fear is one of our preventive strategies that we must go back to. I beg to submit.
Thank you, thank you. I had visitors, Honorable Kevin Keinego from Kenya. I think she's gone. And Honorable Mansi David. Sorry, they have left. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I welcome the statement from the Minister, and I'm happy the Right Honorable Prime Minister is here. Honorable colleagues, what Uganda is best known for in this generation of 30 years is that we are champions. We are leading the whole world in AIDS and HIV and AIDS prevention, SCARG. We should not let that go. I'm happy, and the government chief whip has clearly elaborated it. But my point, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, is when it comes to care for our infected people, somehow the donor community came in, our development partners came in and took it away from government. I remember, Right Honorable Speaker, after we had passed the anti-homosexuality bill, what was being put in our face was that they were going to withdraw money for PEPFAR. These are 2 million Ugandans useful to our country. Then I was wondering, can the Republic of Uganda that championed the fight against this actually take care of our infected people? My answer is yes, we can. Thank you. Because so that, and the more they encroach on that strategic part and take it, in fact, the another research that needs to be done is whether these young people, where the rate of infection is high, is related to the new move of LGBTQ and queer. So that then we can link how come the development partners are so interested in encroaching on our success story. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, you've heard all this, what has been said about HIV/AIDS. We are better off preventing than cure. Aisha.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Back to Prime Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in 2022, the President appointed 16 judges in acting capacity who were forwarded to Parliament for approval, and indeed Parliament approved all of them. 2 years later, the same names were returned for appointment in substantive capacity. Right Honorable Speaker, one of the 16 names was Lady Justice Bukira Farida, who fortunately, well, unfortunately, was the only Muslim among the 16. To date, Right Honorable Lady Justice Bukira Farida has not received her instruments of appointment to fulfill her mandate, yet the President appointed her in substantive capacity and Parliament approved her appointment. May I know from the Prime Minister what went wrong to the appointment of Lady Justice Bukira Farida? Who's standing in the way of her appointment, and how would we help her? How do you help her as a fellow lady? Thank you.
Prime Minister.
To a serious Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I have taken note of the member's question. I promise that I will liaise with the judiciary, that is the Chief Justice, the Justice Commission and make sure that we handle that matter. And I will report back thereafter.
Right Honourable Speaker, any timelines?
Honourable members, maybe as a chair of appointments committee, we received 16 names for appointment of 16 judges. Then they came for confirmation. We confirmed all of them. We wrote a letter confirming all of them. And then in between there, I think there was a problem. The Judicial Service Commission has been investigating the said judge. And what now the Prime Minister will make a follow-up is how far that report from the Judicial Service Commission has reached with the President. That is basically that. And we should be able to hear from the Prime Minister soon than later.
Right Honourable Speaker, that's much appreciated. That's much appreciated, but it casts doubt in the process, because before the President appoints someone, due diligence is done. And before Parliament approves a person, due diligence is done. And when we approved her, there was nothing wrong with her record. When, say, judiciary is investigating the person, it casts doubt in the whole
Judicial Service Commission.
Yes, that the Judicial Service Commission is investigating the person of the Lady Justice. It casts doubt in the whole process whether actually the government machinery or the systems we use to investigate our people is reliable or not. This tells a lot about our systems.
Let's give the Prime Minister benefit of doubt. I think I know that case a little more. Let's give the Prime Minister benefit of doubt. One thing I'm aware of, she has been exonerated. Prime Minister will get back to us on that issue. Because it was not on matters of judicial, it was matters political. Yes, Abeja.
Baralege, Inotuke. Thank you. This Obua here is a bullary.
Obua, why are you looking at Abeja?
He knows my beauty. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to appreciate you for giving me this opportunity. It's because our able Prime Minister is around and my brother. Right Honourable Speaker, my first maiden speech on this floor of Parliament was concerning education. My question to our Right Honourable Prime Minister, what plans do you have for parishes without government-aided primary schools? Primary first.
No, Abeja wants primary first.
Primary first. We have vulnerable children. We submitted primary schools who are struggling. For these schools to be coded, I kindly beg, please.
Thank you. It is a really beg.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, the policy of government is that we have a public primary school per parish, a public secondary school per sub-county. We have been constructing these primary schools and equipping them and coding community primary schools. Madam Speaker, we shall be handling this in a phased manner, funds permitting. I will request her to liaise with my office, put this in writing so that I can see how best we can. Hey, but the minister in charge is here. You come and carry your cross. I had not. No, let him come. Please come and support.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the Prime Minister is saying exactly what I should be saying. Government has plans to ensure that all parishes in this country have at least a primary school. And not only primary schools, but every sub-county in the country will have a secondary school. And so the story goes like that. We want everybody to go to school and remain there until the cycle is complete.
Are you answering Honorable Abeja's question? Honorable Abeja is not asking for too much. She's only asking for primary.
Honorable Abeja is my sister. I've been to her constituency, and we are doing something about what is happening there.
So you're in touch with her?
We are in touch. We are working together.
Honorable Abeja, kindly go to the ministry. Go to the ministry and make a follow-up.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I really want to Honorable Abeja to come and talk so that it is on record, so that the minister can commit.
Honorable Abeja has told me they're in touch, but she can.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Education is my brother. But there was a day the Junior Minister of Education came here and said their money which was allocated for coding this school has not been released. So maybe the minister should get in touch with the Minister of Finance. If this money is there, let them release this money and they go and code these schools.
Honorable Muyengo, get in touch with the Honorable Abeja and Finance and have the schools coded and report back to the House. Report back to the Prime Minister. And we need a response in this House. Honorable Abeja, if they don't do it, you come back. Yes, Pascal.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Switch on.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, on several occasions we've been raising matters concerning ex gratias for local leaders in around 3 districts in Acholi sub-region plus other districts. Up to date, Right Honorable Speaker, these people have not yet been paid their money. Right Honorable Speaker, we are not having peace with our local leaders, most especially the LC ones. In any functions we go to, any gathering, we must respond to such queries. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I request you to give a commitment towards paying these ex gratias of the local leaders, because this is where they source their earning, where they feed and live onto the same amount of money that government gives to them. So we pray that today, so that we also, as we are going back, can give clear information to our leaders that the Right Honorable Prime Minister promised this money will be paid within this period. I request Right Honorable Prime Minister to make a commitment to this. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the Padere woman MP is my mulamu, my sister-in-law. I've been to Padel a number of times. The issue of ex gratia is not only in Padel or northern Uganda, it cuts across the country. In a report by the Ministry of Finance in the Cabinet last week, it was observed that there was under budgeting by some local governments. And so we are handling the matter, not only for Padel, but also other parts of the country. We shall rectify the problem.
And remember, we budgeted for that money. Can we, Grace? Akifensa. Akifensa for you can choose any side, but since you are in yellow.
Sorry, it's this side.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to greet everyone here, and I want to appreciate everyone being my second day here. I would like to raise my concern about our tourism roads in Kisoro. They are really in a dire situation. We want to be heard. We want our voice to be heard. They are really bad.
Honorable members, yes.
Yes, we also have issues of a bridge that overthrew. It has damaged people's gardens, and it needs immediate attention. We also have floods in Kisoro that are happening now, heavy rains, and destroying people's crops. Maybe they will have to give them some attention. Thank you.
Honorable members, Honorable Akifensa, thank you so much. That is our maiden speech, and it takes some people a year to make a maiden speech. Yes, there is another maiden speech here.
From me. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I want to thank you very much and for having welcomed our Member of Parliament and for giving her time to speak on the main speech. But I want also to appeal to the Prime Minister that now we are a bit stronger because the MP is from Buchimbiri County, where you visited and you found that tourism roads are really a problem. I thank you very much.
Yeah, he's actually repeating what the Honorable Akifensa said.
He's trying to emphasize that, Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, it is on this note that I felt I needed to inform you. There is a problem that happened last night in the district of Lamburi. So many people have died. As I went out, I got a call and they told me in Bulambuli district, people were covered by landslides. So many homes, I'm told above 50 homes. And so far they have retrieved 13 bodies. The bridges were washed away by the heavy rains and floods. Our machinery is finding it difficult to reach the place to rescue. I had a meeting this afternoon, and I believe they are having another meeting right now. But I thought it wise to inform the House.
The Prime Minister had actually informed the House before you came.
Okay. So I wanted us to take a note that we have that problem in the country. Now, let me talk about our roads from our sister. I want to congratulate you first of all and to thank you for raising this very pertinent question. The Honorable Speaker, tourism roads are priority roads by the NRM government. A number of strategies have been put in place. So roads like this one of Buchimbiri, I still remember Buchimbiri and many others where our tourists will be going or will go, will be worked on as a matter of priority. I am told that because on Monday we talked about this in cabinet, and the minister in charge of works, Honorable General Katumba Wamala, informed us that contracts have been awarded for some of the roads, and we are still, the president still directed that we prioritize other roads in your district so that our tourists find it easy. And of course, the upgrade of the airport also, because our people, our tourists do not need to fly all that long distance. They will be flying there, and then they get vehicles and access our tourist sites. I want to thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to conclude by informing you that we have got money from China, and those roads will be worked on.
Thank you. Honorable Fedra.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. The procedural issue I want to really raise in regard to the Honorable Grace's submission, besides the tourism road and the status of the roads in this country and flooding, is that this is not only particularly to her constituency. Uganda and the region has been blessed. Everywhere, right from the Prime Minister, this country has been receiving rain. And the rains have flooded everywhere. And this catastrophe has caused most bridges and most of the national roads to be washed away. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, the Minister of Works issued a statement in writing.
So what is the procedural
Now, the
matter
procedural
you
issue I'm raising, would it be not procedural right for the Prime Minister to instruct the Minister to come up with a comprehensive plan and strategy to the challenge of the different roads that have been washed, the bridges across the country? In reference to my constituency, Madiokolo, 3 UNRWA roads have completely been cut off. From Pakwachi to Arua, you cannot cross. From Arua to Madiokolo, you cannot cross. The information I can share is UNRWA said, or Minister of Works said, they cannot repair these roads until the rains are done. But people need to move. Emergencies need to be responded to. So what would it be procedural right for the Prime Minister to come up with a comprehensive measure to respond to all these challenges as far as the road sector in this country is concerned, and we have it once and for all?
I think the disaster we have in the country is really too much. Let's give the Prime Minister time to go and call all sector ministers, sit down and agree on what should be done in the country, not even in one specific area, in the country, because disaster is everywhere in the country.
In line with what you have, on how you have guided, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in the cabinet on Monday, the president guided and said that we need to prioritize maintenance of our roads and bridges. And we are doing exactly that. So I will definitely bring the ministers here to come and inform you of our strategies, because we have already a strategy in place.
Thank you. House adjourned to Tuesday at 2.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hallelujah! the Festival International Christian, together with the African Continent Director, Bishop John Bahebwa of Healing Center Dimu, Kasese, with much pleasure invites all the people of God to attend his ordination ceremony that will start with a 2-day crusade, starting on the
So Ruben, welcome to Manchester. You enjoying the city?
Yeah, it's quite lovely, sunny for 4 days. It's really cold, but without wind, without rain, you can work very well, and people are very nice, very polite, and that's different in some parts in Portugal, but I'm enjoying a lot.
And what have you made of the club? Obviously you've been to the stadium before, but you've been to the training ground now. What's your first impressions?
The first impression is that it's so big, with a lot of departments. I came from a small country, of course, a big club in the small country. Here is a different world. You have a lot to do. You are not just a coach. You have to be something more. So it's a little bit different, but I think I'm prepared for that. And this Manchester United. It doesn't matter the last years. You feel the weight of the history, and you want to be part of that. You know, you feel that if you win here, it will be different than in every club in England. You can feel that, but you also understand that the responsibility is big and it is going to be tough. We will have really hard moments. But in the end, I truly believe that we are going to succeed.
Does that confidence come from just your belief in how you've been successful at Sporting in the last few years?
Not just that, because I follow the sport, not just the games, but what happened with the other coaches. So I know that you can win, and you have Eric. Eric was amazing in Ajax. For me, he built the best 2 teams outside the 5 strongest leagues. So it's not just that, but I have one idea, so I know what to do. When I know what to do, it could go wrong, I know, but I'm comfortable because I know that step 1, step 2, step 3. And with that, I have confidence that we are going to achieve something.
You've talked about that in your interview you did when you first come last week, this one idea. What is this one idea?
One idea is like to be practical because it is too abstract. One idea is that when the ball is in one place and we are with the ball or without the ball, every player has the same idea. Imagine that one guy receives the ball between the lines and he turns. Every guy in the team knows what to do, and everybody thinks the same. So it's quite simple like that. You can call it like hard work, be professional, all that stuff. But in my mind, one idea, one identity is everybody have the same idea when the ball is here, there, or there. So that's quite simple. In this one idea is to understand the game in the same way, see the game in the same way, do the things in one way.
You said before about you'd look back at the managers that have been previously. There've been some great managers here over the last 5 years. You just mentioned Erik ten Hag, but they've really struggled to increase their win percentage above mid-50s. What do you think you look at that's happened there and think, I need to change that, or what's gone wrong with sort of their sort of regimes when they've been at the club?
That is a hard question to answer, because if I know, everybody will know, because they have experience more than me. What I can speak about is that they contact me to be here because they saw something. So I will do my thing. I will not try to find out the right thing to do, or try to find out what is missing with Eric, with Mourinho, with Van Gaal. I will not try that, because I think it's a waste of time. They reach me because they saw something, and I do something in a clear way. When you watch a team from, for example, Sporting, you'll know what you will get. So I will continue to do that, and that is my main focus. I really don't know what they miss here, but I think I know I will do my thing, my way, and try to find out what is missing in my way of seeing football.
You obviously, I think you'll know that coming in mid-season is more challenging than coming in pre-season. You've got a very distinct system. How will you be able to implement that idea mid-season when the games are coming thick and fast? Is that a biggest challenge for you at this moment?
Of course, you don't have time to train. Is a new system, but you imagine that you have a line of 5 or line of 4. The principles are the same. If you want to press with one and do a second line, you can do a second line with 4 guys or 3 guys. So I think it's more than a system, is the principles that you have to teach, and for that we need also time. When I think the problems that we will have is more in the way you do things, with the speed, with the intensity, than to learn how to play with 5 or 4 in the back. They are professional players, all the players are international. So I think it's more, for me, I'm more stressed about the way you do things than the way they have to do with 4 or 5 defenders. So that is quite simple for me.
I think this team over the last 5 or 6 years have played mainly quite deep and on the counter-attack. How do you change that so that you get the defence up the pitch another 20 metres, 15 metres, and you get the pressing a lot higher?
That is a good question. The first thing, I think we have to be better athletes. That is something that you can acknowledge when we are here and we see the data.
You mean fitter than they currently are?
Yeah, when I see fitter, is not thinner or nothing about that. Is the data. You have to understand that the data to press high, what is the average meters that you have to run with high-speed run, the sprint. You have all this data and you have to cope with that. So you already know your goal is to reach that. Of course, you play with the ball. Yeah. If you can run a lot, but if you don't understand the game, it doesn't matter. But in the first point, to press high, you have to be very fit, and you have to cope with the demands of pressing high. And I think one of the problems that we have, and I don't like to speak like that, because I'm saying that I know the right way and the other way is the wrong way. Yeah. No, I'm just telling my way of seeing things, is that the problem is with the ball. I think we lose the ball too fast. We win the ball, we lose the ball. And you cannot press high all the time. So you have to keep the ball and understand that you have to be in the position to start one play. This is something that with the ball we can press better. So the focus this week also was in that part. If you don't lose the ball, you can push higher. If you are higher, you can press better. So it's like a snowball. Everything is connected, but if I know how to do it, I will do it in the snap of the fingers. So we need a lot of time, but during this time we have to win games and we have to manage. So important for me is that they have to understand the game. If you have to defend inside the goal of Onana, we'll defend inside the goal of Onana. If you have to press her in the opposite side, we'll do it. But we have to understand the game.
Yeah. What are your non-negotiables?
It's easy to see. You can say the pretty things like hard work, be professional. It should be. This is Manchester United in every club, but here, of course, this is you cannot run from that. Then is to think first in the team. So I know that some guys will sometimes will play in the different position, but they have to understand the position and they have to fight for the team. This is something that I can, as a former player, I know every trick. I can understand the players. I can understand what they are doing, why they are doing. If they are doing for the team, I will defend them until the end. I can lose my job before I put one player in front of the bus, as you can say like that. But if he doesn't put the team in first place, I will be the first one to talk with the player.
You mentioned professionalism. I have to ask you this because I've made a comment this week about Casemiro and Marcus Rashford travelling to America in their few days off. And it was just me thinking as a Manchester United player when I played here that you've got a few days off, the club are 13th in the league, the manager has just been sacked, it's a challenging part of the season and the new manager is about to come in, and that focus and preparation and not every single little detail is really important. And I said I don't think I would have chosen that trip to go to America with the time difference. I did get it wrong, I think they went to New York rather than Portland, so I apologise for that. But there's still a 5-6 hour time difference. They're on planes. Casemiro's 30 years of age. Are you comfortable with that?
The first thing, it was 5 days off. The second thing, they received the information of 5 days off. And they are big boys. They have kids. So they decide what to do. I think the main question here is us as a club have to set the standards and have to manage that. It's my decision if they can have 5 days as a coach, or 3 days, or is 3 days to rest, you cannot fly. This is something that as a club has to decide.
So you think you would have set a different structure maybe for that period?
For me, yes, for sure. But we cannot put this on the players. They told them they have 5 days off, so they can fly anywhere. Because nobody in the club says you cannot fly. So they have to live their lives because they are grown men and they have to decide these things. But us as a club has to change in these standards. You said that you as a player talk in a different way.
I wouldn't have made that choice. I would have taken the 5 days off, but I would have probably done something different with that 5 days than getting on a plane to the US. You seem to be saying something similar.
For me, the big difference is your time. You had a great leadership at the time, very, very strong, and the culture was already here when you start. So it's a long time with the same identity, the same way of seeing things, and you feel I'm just imagining, but even your teammates, if you do that, they will talk to you. So now is a different point, and you have to acknowledge that. So this must be start in the club with us, me as a responsible in that area. So we cannot this time put that on Rash or Casa. They receive the information, 5 days off, do what you like. So we have to, as a club, set a better standards, and we will try to do that.
Is your problem with the actual 5 days off? Actually, you think it's too long?
It depends. It's very individual, and you have to see how many players stay. All of these things. These players are playing or not. They were injury or not. I think 5 days for me it's too much, because after 3 days you lose something, so you have to see that. But sometimes you feel that it's better he loses something physically but wins something mentally. So it's something individual. But I want to say it again. It should not be the player's decision. It should be our decision as a club, and we are responsible to set that examples and standards, whatever you want to call it.
Take me back to the very first time you heard from someone at Manchester United and they said, we'd like to speak to you about being the manager. Who was that, and when, how did you feel when that happened?
I already had conversation with clubs, so it was quite normal. But what I felt at the time, I felt that this is my place because of all of that things that you said about the moment of this club. I think it's perfect for me. I think I can feel it. If everything is going right here and we are winning, maybe it was not for me. I don't know how to explain it better, but I think it was the right club in the right moment for me. It was very tough to leave Sporting because in the middle of the season, you can say everything. It's Manchester United. It's everything. It's the moment. It's the club that I want. But you are leaving your guys in the middle of the season. So it was really hard, but I had to do it, and I was like so happy. Of course, you can see it in every intervention that I have. But I also felt that is, in the first moment, a little bit overwhelming, but after 5 minutes you start thinking about the club, the team, the players, how to play, so it was quite fun.
But it's true that, I mean, I'm talking now as a United fan, not someone who's interviewing you for Sky, but you look like you're beaming and you're sort of so happy to be here. I mean, it's an important thing, that, just to sort of the message to the fans, the body language, it's important.
Of course, and I know that in this moment our fans are with mixed feelings, like, I want to be excited, but I have been here, so I have to be. I'm a little bit afraid. It's the same story all the time. I can be disappointed. So what can I say is that I'm really excited. I'm not afraid to show it, but I'm a clear idea that this will take time. Don't confuse my happiness with naivety. Naivety. It's not the same thing. I'm really happy. I know what to do, but I have idea that we are going to suffer a little bit before improving in the way that you should improve.
You've given us a lot of insight into how you're going to manage the players. In terms of, obviously, at Sporting, you with Hugo Viana, you had a great relationship. What do you expect from the people above you?
We can talk about, for example, Dave. Dave is known to create cultures. Of course, it's different sports, but he can prove that he can create cultures that win and strong cultures. And we need that in the club. I think everybody, we don't need to hide that. We need to build that before to build something else. We need to build that in our staff, in our way to see things. And then you have Dan. Dan is well known here in England. He has the same position of Hugo Viana. One of the things, to be practical in that, to explain, is that it's important when a coach or a manager, more a coach, says something, you have someone like Dan that says the same thing to the players. This connection is so important in the club, and then the player is going to talk with the agent, and the agent will talk with Dan, and he will hear the same thing. This is so important because the players will feel that there is no place to run, or there is no place to hide. So we have to be on the same page. Then you have Jason, he's the technical director. It's so important because for me, we need to improve Carrington with the youth teams. So we need to create a profile for the type of players that you want in the first team, and we have to improve. We have good players, but we should be better for what I saw.
You mentioned game model in your interview the day, that you're going to introduce a game model. Does that mean, explain it to me, but also to everybody at the club. Does that mean that what you implement in the first team now will change throughout the actual academy and the youth teams and other sort of parts of the club? Obviously, the last few years they've been working a different way. Does that mean it changes now that you come in, you're looking for a direction to change through the whole club?
No, for me, there's nothing to do with that. You have to have the same principles, and you have to understand the profile of the players. If I need the number 6, when you go up in the scale of youth teams, you have to work a little bit more specifically the type of 6 that we use. But here, down, when they are growing up, they can play in different systems. I think it helped. They have to understand the game. It's not understanding a system. They don't have to grow up playing in 3-4-3. They have to understand the game. You can play 4-3-3, because we will change the players. If you play with Dalot in one side, or you play with Diallo in the same position, is the same position, different guy, different structure.
I'm interested in that. Will you play defensive fullbacks in wing-back positions, or will you play attacking wingers, or will you move between the two?
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but you have to use both.
Yeah.
Because you have the different games. We should start with fullbacks because the structure has to. Yeah. Because to teach a winger how to defend is harder.
Impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't have too much.
No.
So if you are putting Dalot all the time, Mazraoui all the time, Malassi is returning, Shaw, he cannot do it at the moment. Yeah. So you have to adapt some players, and this is also the hard part to start in the middle of the season.
Yeah. Is it? I think the club will probably say that the limit with FFP, the financial sustainability. So it's unlikely that there's going to be a lot of changes in January. Is that a strength that actually for 8 months you're likely to be working with the same group of players, and actually you've not got a big transfer window in the summer? That's the positive, I suppose, is it, for you to be able to work with them?
The first thing, I'm not thinking about that. I'm really not thinking about that. I need to know the players.
Yeah.
Then we are addressing that with Jason and with Dan. We have to improve the recruitment, but improve recruitment is the process. So you have to have the data. We have to put the profiles on point, so they have to understand how I want to play and what I need for each position. So this is very clear, and we are trying to do that very, very fast. But this is the first moment. If we start without everything, the data, physical data that every position demands, the character of the player, if we don't have a clear process, we cannot start buying players. So our focus is to build that, and then when the windows open, we will see. Yeah. But I'm not thinking about that in the moment.
You're currently in 13th position, but actually only 4 points off top 4. Is that still the aim this season for you to take the club into the Champions League? Is that what you're looking at?
The first thing, I'm not thinking anything else than winning the next game. And people will say that I'm hiding the responsibility. You and the other guys will judge me for the position. I really don't care. I know that. That's why we are Manchester United. And people expect to be on top 4. That I know. It's not. I don't have any goal in the end of the season. I have one goal for this game and then to the other game. So I have so much to do. I will focus on every game. What can I say is that we have the responsibility not just to fight for every game, but to win every game. It's going to be hard. That is the goal. But I will not tell you that we have to be here in the end or there on top 4 or on top 6. I will be judged for that, but this is not my goal at the moment.
I think you said the other day that you wanted to meet with Sir Alex Ferguson and maybe, I think you mentioned Roy Keane as well, to have a dinner or with players that have played for the club before. He's actually on the television doing the game at Ipswich. Do you want me to pass on the invitation to Roy for dinner with him?
Roy Keane? Yeah. No, it was a player that I really liked. I know he's a little bit crazy.
He's a lot crazy.
But he was a massive player. Yeah, and I like players with character. Yeah. I think they can improve. Not just what Roy Keane did on the pitch, the way he influenced the others. I think that is very important. In one player, you must have this kind of player in the big clubs, and I hope we'll have in the future players like Roy Keane. Sir Alex Ferguson, you want to ask so many things. I think he will talk about horses. They told me that. I don't understand nothing about horses, but it will be amazing to meet that kind of character.
Ruben, it's been brilliant speaking to you, and Manchester United fans absolutely love their managers. They always support them, and all the very best to you. Hope you do a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
When you get that call, had you known the context, the behind the scenes, that unhealthy culture, honestly, do you think you would have made a different decision?
I think I can say this.
Frank Lampard! Lampard has found the net! Premier League icon
the Chelsea legend.
I read that your dad was the biggest influence on your career, and then I read a separate quote saying that sometimes I hated him.
You know, my dad was a tough man, pushed me very hard on the football front, and it got probably a bit too much. The fear of failure was a huge driving force, but it made me what I was and gave me the career I got in the end.
Chelsea fans will be listening to this because they want to get your opinion on what's just happened, because since you've left we've not really heard from you.
I came back here because this was an opportunity to come to Chelsea, a club close to my heart, but I could see in training the level wasn't enough. The size of the squad with players that will test you and question you.
Questioning you. And then Chelsea spends more money than anyone's ever spent in a window. It seemed like chaos.
I could see that the players were ready for the season to finish.
But low standards are a symptom of something further upstream that's happened.
You know, we didn't get the results I wanted, and I know a lot of the reasons why.
Like what?
So,
one moment occurred in your life that really tested you at a much deeper level. The passing of your mother, and while you were playing at the very, very highest level.
I was a mummy's boy. I lost the closest person to me, you know, everything to me. The emotional support. I want to say something more, you know, and couldn't.
What would you want to say? Frank is a legend. There's absolutely no denying that. But so much has happened in recent times in his life as a manager that unanswered questions remain. And I wanted to have a conversation with Frank, an honest, open conversation, to see if we could get to the bottom of some of those unanswered questions. What was happening behind the scenes? How did it actually feel for Frank? Is anyone to blame? What does Frank want to do next? And how and what caused Frank to be the man that he is? And that's maybe the most fascinating question of all, because there's some things that Frank has just never talked about before, but he's made the decision to talk about them today. And if you have unanswered questions, I don't think you will at the end of this episode. Frank, how are you doing?
Really well, thank you.
There's always a short and a long answer to that, isn't there?
I was waiting for your secondary for that.
Yeah. What's the long version of that?
No, I'm doing really well. I'm currently on a break, I suppose, from working, which is a pleasure in ways, because obviously the work of a manager, I was going to say Premier League manager, but any manager in football is intense. So at the moment I'm on a break. It's sort of holiday time for me a little bit, family time. And probably when I'm out of work, I learned this when I left Chelsea actually. I had a year out after that, and I really learned to try to improve my appreciation of when you're out of work. You're fortunate enough to be able to be out of work, whatever that circumstance is, but try and enjoy your family and be very, very present. So at the minute I'm pretty present at home, which is a good thing, hopefully, for my children and wife, and I'm in a pretty good place.
I remember my brain would often drift off when I had my time out of work, and I would think about things professionally. So I'd think about things that I could be doing, or you'd think back to the past. When you're having those moments where your kids are running around and you have a moment where your brain drifts off to work, what are the subjects that your brain starts thinking about professionally?
You think a lot in management about people. So if I reflect on situations like leaving Chelsea or leaving Everton and those things, there are a lot of things that are out of your control. You get to a point where you kind of can get probably 70% of them and lock them away and kind of go, I'm all right with that. You know, results you can't control, but 70% you're okay with. And there's 30% that you kind of niggles at you. That's how I am. And a lot of those things when you become manager are maybe sort of like people things. I think there's sort of tactics and all these things are huge in the modern game. And I'm certainly a coach, I'm not a manager. But when it comes to managing, I don't know, 25, 30 players, managing a building, because you are the figurehead of a building when you're the head coach or manager, I think sometimes when you're reflecting, you can reflect on things. Did I have that? Was that interaction right? Would I have dealt with that right? Could I have dealt with it differently? And hindsight is like the best thing. You know, it's so simple to sit there with hindsight and think, you know, I should have done that. So I suppose I have moments where I go over things like that, but they're all with a yearning to sort of be a bit better or learn that you might have done something wrong, or actually you come to the conclusion, no, I maybe did it right. So, you know, I dip in and out of that stuff. And that probably is, you know, as I say, I wouldn't say I'm the only one, but I certainly am someone that is, You know, I can never control when those moments come. I can be pushing the swing, you know, with my kid, and then my mind goes back to something or thinks ahead to something. And, you know, that probably means that I'm absolutely invested in what I do.
Yeah, I can relate to all of that. I think anybody can. And I also really liked your analogy of once you get to like 50-70% peace with something, it's kind of resolved as much as you know.
Yeah.
And then there's other things which feel kind of unresolved, I guess. Or
Yeah.
like there's more wisdom to garner from those experiences.
Well, I think if you don't get to peace with the 70%, I think you can get yourself in a bit of a mess. You know, I think you can go over everything and correct yourself, and then what is the answer going forward? So I think kind of understanding what you are, and then go, no, that was fine. Whatever the result, for a win or for a loss. I've had games as a coach and as a player where we've won a game and I know I got something wrong in the game, but you take the plaudits afterwards, but inside I know I got it wrong. I've had games that we've lost and you get criticism from the outside, and I know my prep was right, you know, in my head. So I think those sort of things you can kind of stack up and go, no, well, that's fine. But then there's always the 30%. And we'll always strive for, and it might be less. I don't know, 30% sounds a big number when I say it. Sometimes maybe it's 10% to try and make you as good as you can be. So I kind of go over that stuff. Because when you're out of work, when you're not working and you don't know, in football, you don't know what your next gig is, you know, it's very hard to jump too far into the future because everything looks different there. So how can you stack yourself up as good as you can now?
I want to get into all of that, but I want to take a step back because I think I feel like there's more I need to understand about who you are as a person and your characters and your character and really the foundations you're built upon to understand all of these things, the things we're going to talk about. So what do I need to know about Frank Lampard in terms of the influences and the experiences that shaped your character? The character of the man that sat in front of me, because you know I've spoken to a lot of people about you in preparation for this conversation.
No,
but they all seem to sing from the exact same hymn sheet. They all say, everyone says you're just a wonderful man, like a really good, solid gentleman. And it's people don't know this, but we were meant to have this conversation before.
Yeah.
But you've just been a total class act in even not being able to come last time because of reasons outside of your control. The way you conduct yourself, you just conduct yourself as a real gentleman. And then in terms of your mentality, when I was reading through your early years, it's clear that there was this real obsession to be better. I mean, Harry Redknapp said that you were the hardest training, hardest working person he's ever worked with when you're a young man. Tell me, why is Frank Lampard the way he is?
I grew up in Romford in Essex. So I would call it probably a middle class upbringing in terms of my dad had been a professional footballer. And so I went through a pretty comfortable upbringing where I was going to school every day, aspiring to do pretty well at school, training pretty much every day and playing at the weekends. So after school, I would go and train at Tottenham and Arsenal and West Ham. At one point, I was training at all three. You could in those days. Now it's different. I was playing cricket. I was playing for Essex as a child. So that was on Monday night, having nets at Chelmsford. And then on Saturday, I went to school.